Campus Santa Catarina, Claudia Zaragoza, María Reséndez. Campus Garzazada, Suriel Garza, Sebastián Hernández. The following video includes an explanation of the basic graph of exponential functions, an explanation of exponential growth and decay with 2 real-life examples, and Chernobyl's disaster facts, consequences, preventions, and solutions.
Exponential functions have a basic graph with a domain of all real numbers, a range of 0 to infinity, and a key point of 0, 1.
People who work in a nuclear plant must follow a safety protocol because the nuclear energy is so dangerous that if humans are in contact with this kind of energy, they could die. This energy may bring good things, but it has a high cost. In Mexico, there are 2 nuclear plants, Laguna Verde First and Laguna Verde Second, both in the state of Veracruz. Most of the Mexicans do not know the existence of these nuclear plants. Both nuclear plants are constantly under control. The only problem is that these nuclear plants are really near to the ocean, and in the case there was an explosion in one of these nuclear plants, this would not only affect the state, it could affect the entire world, because an explosion would cause poisonous clouds and acid rain that would contaminate not only the land but the ocean too, and this radiation would spread in the water to other countries. Chernobyl's disaster could be prevented as all things in the world, if people who worked there had more caution and took even more safety precautions. Also, it could be prevented if the nuclear plant was far away of the city. Once the nuclear plant exploded, the radiation could not be stopped in any way, so it spread into the city to contaminate it all, including the people. People who were in the nuclear plant when it exploded and survived would have malformation in their DNA, transmitting it to their children. Actually, we don't think that technology could prevent the problem of Chernobyl, but humans will learn the lesson with events like this and have more caution with the nuclear energy to prevent it in the future.
Exponential growth is a growth whose rate becomes ever more rapid in proportion to the growing total number or size. Exponential decay is when an original amount is reduced by a consistent rate over a period of time. An example of exponential growth is the increase in cell phone subscribers per year. So if x-axis represents the years and y-axis the number of cell phone subscribers, the graph will grow due to the rapid increase of people buying cell phones. On the other hand, an example of exponential decay would be the decrease in the price of an old vehicle throughout the years. In a graph, it would be represented by x being the years and y the price by percentage. As the years go by, the value of the car will decrease. It all started when the Soviet Union needed a cheap source of energy, nuclear power. Over 2 million people in Ukraine's major city got their electricity from the state-run power plant known as Chernobyl.
The Chernobyl disaster was due to a combination of human error and imperfect technology.
Occurred in April 26, 1986.
During a routine safety test, there was an explosion and fire that released large quantities of radioactive particles into the atmosphere, which spread over much of Western Soviet Union and Europe.
The newly commissioned reactor, number 4, which is the one that exploded, was one of the communist regime's proudest technological achievements.
There were 2 main deadly factors on the reactor. First, potentially fatal flaw in the reactor design. The flaw makes it highly unstable when run at low power. And second, the man in charge, Anatoly Dyatlov, damaged the technology he was seeking to dominate. This building was opened before the expected time, only to obtain a considerable amount of money.
The Chernobyl disaster is widely considered to have been the worst nuclear power plant accident in history, and is one of only 2 classified as Level 7 events on the International Nuclear Events Scale.
In a symbolic way, the Chernobyl disaster was the beginning of the end of the Soviet Union.
Over 600,000 Soviet men and women were brought in to contain the radioactivity.
Poisonous clouds were created and spread across the borders of the Northern Hemisphere. later washed into the earth by the rain, affecting plants, animals, and humans.
The attempt to avert a greater catastrophe involved over 500,000 workers and cost an estimated of 18 billion rubles. That means Russian currency.
Long-term effects such as cancers and deformities are still being accounted for. Caused over 10,000 cases of cancers in Russia and 25,000 worldwide over a 70-year period.